Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am the Montana real estate mom. My name is Alyssa Webb and I am a licensed realtor in the beautiful state of Montana. I wanted to hop on here and answer some commonly asked questions by my friends and family. I get asked questions all the time, and I hopped on Facebook and asked them to dump their questions, and they came through for me. So I am going to go ahead and get started. Grace asked, what are some pros and cons related to being with an agency versus independent? I think what she means by agency is like maybe one of those big name brokerages such as Century 21 or Remax. I'm with EXP. Each company is going to have its own pros and cons, but let's start out with being a newly licensed agent. As a new agent, you have to hang your license somewhere and associate yourself with a brokerage. You have to have what's called a supervising broker, and they do exactly what's in the title. They supervise you. They're going to sign off on your transactions and hopefully, mentor you. So being independent has its benefits because you can run your own business, be in charge of it all. And then by being with like what Grace says here, like an agency, maybe she means a brokerage, having that name behind you is really good for like being recognized. And I think you can work your way towards being a broker. So once you've completed a number of transactions, or maybe hours or years, every state's going to have different requirements, but you can become a broker who owns their own company. So the benefit to that is probably like making more money. You get a full 100% commission, but a downside to that could be if you're opening up like a brick and mortar office, you're going to have monthly expenses associated with that, like utilities, maybe a lease payment. So that could be a con to being independent, as you grow your business and become your own broker. You can get your broker's license and still, work like where I do at EXP or Century 21 without like running the whole show. So I think, being an independent agent is you can kind of run your own business and take charge. So Grace, I hope that answers your question. Moving on, Candy asks, how easy is it to be a realtor and a full-time mama? It's not. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not always easy. I mean, sometimes I am like so overwhelmed with like kids, especially right now with like having to be home and the kids not being in school. You're like having to do schoolwork. And then I also have a little toddler. And so trying to handle that at the same time can be very difficult. It's a balance. But I think for me, what makes it easy is having such a great support system. My other half, Dustin, is like super supportive. Anytime I have a phone call or need to take care of something, he's just right there to help, which is amazing. So I would have to say he makes it really easy. And kind of going along with that, Haley's question, is there a way to set healthy boundaries but still make good money doing it? I see so many working 24/7 and I know there's got to be a better way. There's no way around it, Haley. This business is 24/7. It really never turns off. I get emails or inquiries on my website, all hours, any hours. And one way that I set boundaries is I put my phone on Do Not Disturb from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Not to say that I stop working at 9. There are often some evenings that I'm working later than 9. And if I'm already working, I'm going to be there for my clients or answer whatever email or question or lead comes through my website. I think the best way to set boundaries is communication. That's communication with your family, communication with the other realtor in the transaction, communication with your clients. Up until earlier this week, I had a full-time job that I was working 40 hours a week. And I was still doing my real estate business at full speed. And so if I was in a transaction, I would make sure to communicate to the other realtor that I had another job and that I would most likely be available for real estate during lunch or after 5 p.m. And I would do the same for my clients. I would tell them that as well. So the big thing is communication. You know, if you have children and you have sports games or whatever, you just have to really, stick to your plan. Are you going to answer texts or business emails during the game, or are you going to turn your phone off? And you just have to create a plan and stick to it. So Haley, there is definitely a way to create balance and create boundaries. I think with communication and a good plan, it's totally possible to not be working around the clock. Musa asks, do you ever take naps in a vacant or model home? No, I have never taken a nap in an empty house. That would be really bad. But I do remember this one time I was hosting an open house at my listing, and I had a Monster Energy drink in one hand, and I had my laptop in the other on the brightest brightness it could go. And I was so tired trying to make it through, but I did not fall asleep. So yeah, that would be really, really bad. Kevin asks, how many houses can you have listed at a certain time and how many buyers? Is there a legitimate number or just what you can handle? And then what can you handle? That is an awesome question, Kevin. I've actually asked myself that quite a few times. Especially when I had my full-time job, there were times where I would get pretty overwhelmed with the amount of transactions or active buyers or active listings I had while doing my full-time job. And so there isn't really a legitimate or legal number. It truly is whatever you can handle. So for me, I am solo in my business. I do everything from showing homes to handling listing appointments, buyer consultations. I handle all the paperwork from beginning to end. So I do have to limit the amount of clients I can take. Now that I don't have that full-time job, I can handle more because I have the time to do so. But like when I was working before, I think it was like 10 to 12 things going on between like transactions or active buyers and sellers, and it was kind of overwhelming. That was probably my limit when I was in that job, but maybe now it's maybe a little over 12 or something like that. I don't really know. It depends on the client and what they're looking for too. You might have a buyer that's more laid back waiting for the right home, or you might have a couple buyers who need to find a house right now because their lease is ending, or maybe you have some transactions that are set to close soon. It kind of depends, and it's case by case. So for me, I feel like with what I can handle, if I start to feel like I'm not giving my best to my clients and they're not getting my full attention, or things are slipping through the cracks, or I'm making a lot of errors, it's probably like that's what I can handle, and I need to maybe refer it out to someone else. Another thing too is if I were to get that busy, or if another agent were to get that busy, you can always hire what's called a transaction coordinator to handle the paperwork side of things, so you can do more of the other stuff, or you can hire an assistant. So there are some options there. Let's see. Chantel asks, what is your least favorite part? That's a really hard question. My least favorite part, to be quite honest, I think that my least favorite part, I'm going to have to be brutally honest, is when you have a client that you may not jive with and maybe don't know it at first. And like I always want to educate people, not being like a smart aleck or anything, but like if people have questions, I want to completely answer those questions for them and educate them through the entire process so that they feel knowledgeable about what's going on and feel good about what's going on in the transaction. And there has been a time when like you don't jive with a client, like maybe they think they know better than you, and that it's really hard when they're not like receptive to what I'm saying. It doesn't happen often. I think with me, it's only happened once. But I have to say, if you're out there and you're thinking about a career in real estate, or if you are a realtor, and you probably know what I'm talking about, it's okay to fire a client. Like if they're not treating you with respect or the respect that you deserve, or it's not a good fit, I think it's okay to let them go. So that is probably my least favorite part. And then the last two questions are from Carrie and Beth. They're asking about the process of becoming a realtor or how to get started into real estate. That is a really loaded question and it deserves its own video. So how about you guys hit the subscribe button and stay tuned to find out more about how to get into real estate. All right, guys, until next time, bye.